Welcome to Go Okanagan. Today we are stepping back in history, and that's because it's Heritage Week in Canada. So today we are at the Royal Anne Hotel in downtown Kelowna, where there is a fantastic display all week long talking about the history of Kelowna and area. And on today's show we'll talk about that and about some of the incredible events that are coming up to commemorate Heritage this week. Now we're joined by Janice Henry from Central Okanagan Heritage Society and Heritage BC.
That's right.
I really enjoy learning about history and the heritage of wherever I happen to be. Why do you think it's important to preserve and to share the heritage of?
I so enjoy knowing about our buildings. Our society is particularly interested in the conservation of the structures.
Right.
Because without the structures, we have photographs and people's collective memories, but nothing tangible. So that's where our society focuses, and I think it's hugely important. You know, one of the buildings that we own is Benvolin Church, for example. And when people hear that that building was almost burnt down for fire practice about 25, 30 years ago, there's this collective gasp. You know, it would be so sad not to have that building on that landscape driving down Benvolin Road. So that's just one example of why it's important.
But you do have a great outfit on. We're talking to Christina Neal
you.
from the Okanagan Museums, and it's Heritage Week, and you've got a great display down here all week long at the Royal Anne.
That's correct. Royal Anne has actually donated this space to Heritage Week because this is actually one of the first hotels that was here in the Kelowna area. It actually started out as a hotel called the Palace. In 1928, the citizens purchased the Palace, and they moved it to the back and built the Royal Anne Hotel. Unfortunately, in 1971, it burned down, but during the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, this was the place that you came for tea. This was a wonderful place. If you could have your wedding here, well, you were definitely part of the upper scale of Kelowna.
That's just one of the tiny tidbits of all the great information that's collected. There's books, there's displays, there's people from all kinds of different organizations that are here, and we're going to have a little look around that throughout the show. But we also want to talk about some of the cool events that you've got going on. Along with this, there's great activities for people to get involved in.
The big main event that we're excited about is on Saturday the 21st.
Right.
And that will be starting at 1 o'clock, and it's a passport through time.
A passport through, so this is like one of those things where you go visit a variety of places and get to learn about the local history as you go, right?
That's correct. And what you're going to be looking for is people wearing hats as such.
Red hats, you get a red top hat, you're a passport officer.
Absolutely, passport officer. Now, we're not doing the typical passport stamps. What we'll be doing is we'll be doing trivia questions throughout downtown. So you get to experience what the building was like before, who may have possibly been there before, and who knows, you might run into Bernard Lequim.
He might be around.
That's quite possible.
The one that Bernard Avenue is named after.
He is actually also the founder of Kelowna District.
Lots of people with great information, lots of things to learn. Look for people with red hats, not me, because all that I know about the history of Kelowna, I'm going to learn today on the show. Now, I feel like I'm seeing double here, Christine. This is really cool.
It is very cool. This is what we call our Heritage 360. And what you're seeing is Bernard and Richter Avenue from 1910 compared to 2013.
And this is taken from the top of the
First United Church
down on the corner there, the big red brick building, right?
That's correct.
So this, and they line up really quite well, like a modern photographer has sort of replicated this older 360.
Absolutely. So what was really unique about this 1910 photo is the fact that it is a panoramic photo. So remember, exposures were long on cameras. It took quite a lot of time. There was no computers to sit and digitally enhance things. So what we have here is, Bernard looking west over towards Lake Okanagan, and then above, in 2013, Harry Brust, a local photographer, went out with his camera, and he loves doing now and then photos. He's done quite a few imitations of G.E. Hudson's, and he got up onto the First United Bell Tower and took this shot of what it looks like then versus now, and it's just incredible to see the change.
It's so fun to stand here, and you were pointing out, along the way, some of the older buildings, and it's the Boys and Girls Club now, which was a school back then.
That's correct.
And they all, you can see them from like 100 years ago and where they are now. It's really fascinating. I love this kind of thing. It's so cool.
It was really interesting when Harry was taking this photo to the new one and trying to replicate it. To get it, it is 22 feet long and 2 feet wide. But what we found really fascinating was that G. Edson actually must have done some sort of magic to create this photo with the long exposure rate, because even when he sat at the top of the bell tower and did the 360, you would get the entire bell tower into the image, which he hasn't done. So we found out some historical information about how this photo was probably taken during the process of doing the 2013 replication.
It's an amazing feat considering the technology available to him at the time, and this is just like one part of this really cool display down here, and we're really looking forward to all the fun stuff that's going on throughout the week and on Saturday in particular. Thanks so much for sharing with us, and we would love to hear from you. If you've got old photographs or memories of anything in the Okanagan from your past, share them with us. Go_Okanagan at shaw.ca, and we'll pass them on to the museum folks too.
Fantastic.
That's it for the show. I'm Doug Brown, and we'll see you next time on Go.